Hi, I'm Sydney, and I am a servant of the Almighty God. In this episode of Recognizing God's Omnipotence, this is not hyperbole. I will make the statement that this could be the greatest revolution in the history of mankind. Let me explain. We are at a stage in our development of our civilization where you listen carefully and you will recognize that all scientists, they may use the word evolution, but every time they do, you will hear an intelligence attributed to it. You will hear more than likely you will be hearing Mother Nature or nature. But always there is an intelligence, because when we observe, scientists go and the secrets of nature is revealed. We see intelligent design. We see these animals that have, whether they exist underground, above ground, whether they operate during the daytime or they are nocturnal, regardless of whether they in the oceans, on land, in the skies. We see intelligent design. We see birds, with hollow bones. We see, for instance, the polar bear has those hollow hairs to increase the ability to work better as an insulator. And all of this just sounds natural, right? It just happened. But if you really think about it just for a second, if those animals were able to do that, to design themselves, wouldn't they have continued designing themselves and keep, because if birds, like the owl, right? The owls, they don't have ear, but they have the way they have these like radar detectors in the way their faces are designed, that they can channel sound so they can hear very, very well. And of course they have these silent, they fly silently. There is no flapping, right? Because their feathers are designed that way. Did the owls do that? So what you see now is that science recognizes these things. There is an intelligence that designed all of this. Wouldn't you believe it? The big hindrance, the point that has the tipping over, which is what I talk about in humanity's inflection point, it's religions. Religions are focused on thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, and let me tell you these stories about what happened there. And more, it's about my pastor, my cleric, my rabbi. Whereas science is recognizing what we observe in nature, and this is why I say nature is the manifestation of God's omnipotence. But religions are not focused on that. They are focused on, let's divide. I am Muslim, I'm Jewish, I'm Christian, I'm Buddhist, I'm whatever. And based on some text, some stories, this is who I am. And that enables me to define, because nature is universal and works for all of us. It does not say, well, because you are Jewish or you're black or you're white or you're green or you're yellow or you're red. Nature does not. So you see, the Creator has designed, and we should learn from this. And that which science has, tacitly accepted. Science has accepted. There is an intelligence. We were intelligently designed. These systems were intelligently designed. That intelligence, that source, the Creator, that's what we observe in nature. So science has tacitly accepted this. Religions, however, are still blinded. When was the last time? Because when you observe nature, religions will come to the understanding that we all exist in the presence of the living, everlasting, all-powerful Creator. Think about the change that occurs in our world. And so it's really kind of insane that science has tacitly accepted this intelligent creator that designed the benevolence. We see all these things, that the correlation between multiple things in our ecosystem. Religions, no, they focus on, let's talk about what happened 2,000 years ago, what happens hundreds of years ago, and so they continue to divide, ignoring when was the last time. Because to me, every religion should remind every adherent that when you walk in, you are in the presence of the living God. Not just when you walk into the house of God, but you're always in the presence of the living God. Think about it. How we change our behaviors when we recognize the cameras are on us. We are being recorded. And I talk about the ability to tap into storage, which we do as a IT person. I know about, you store things, you retrieve it. Our memories, we know that our memories are stored because we can retrieve it, but we don't have the keys, whether it's encrypted or not. We don't have the keys. But what if there is someone who designed this, who can retrieve all of it? Like, I tell people sometimes now, I say, imagine if we had that key. We could interrogate anyone. We don't have to ask a word. We can say, hey, let me plug this on you, and let me retrieve that memory from whatever. And I'm seeing what you saw. I'm smelling what you smell. I am experiencing whatever as it's played out on that screen. And I can rewind to a certain day and say, no, go back 2 days. Let's see exactly what you experienced. Because it's in your memory, whether consciously or not. These are the keys that the Creator has. But our greatest revolution in the history of mankind will occur. This is what I talk about in the humanity's inflection point. Once religions recognize all that we refer to as nature, it's all the manifestation of the omnipotence of our Creator. And so that is unifying. It doesn't matter where you are on this planet Earth. Nature is the same. The one Creator. And whether there's polytheism or whatever, because we see so many diverse things and we question, did one create all of this, or were there a group of it? But we understand that that creative force, that intelligence, it's unifying. It's for all of us. It works the same for all of us. And so all religions will then recognize, oh, this is the same God, the same Creator. Think about that. Even we have so many systems where it is all about a man, whether it's a pastor, the cleric, the rabbi, or some dictator. It's about, but once we recognize, and religions are all on the same page, that we are in the presence of the Creator. This is that intelligence that designed everything from the ozone layer, all the intricacies we see, the synergies we see between systems. It was all these. Science recognizes it. Religions do not. And that's the tipping point. Once religions start recognizing that, all religions will recognize that the same nature that we experience, the nature that we are all so interested and all marvel at, it's the same nature, is the manifestation of that Creator. And so they all must unify. They must recognize that is what, and this is where we come to humanity's inflection point. Because there's no room for man to elevate himself, whether a dictator in a political system or in a religious system, and be issuing commands that defy the commandments, because we then go into that thing of, okay, so here is the Creator, and we have the commandments. The stories can be interpreted however, and twisted, and because my group is the best special group because I wear these clothes, or I dress like this and I obey. But the commandments are what are there for all of us. He said, I gave you all of this. And it's up to religions to recognize that nature is the manifestation of God's omnipotence. Because, and again, it's right there, the knowledge is right in front of us. that this was all intelligently designed. We see it when I talk about the corolla spider. We look at an elephant and the fact that it was designed so that that trunk could be a marvelous thing. Like, how, we could not, we should recognize the power of someone by their works. Nature is the work of the Creator. We marvel, when we see storms and the seas, and we see all the power of nature. That is the work of our Creator. We see the intelligent design that connects one to the other. Now, like I talk about the weather, things seem random way back, but once the laws are revealed to us, now we can predict the weather. We can say, oh yeah, we can see these things happening because the rules that govern those things have been revealed to us. It's, just as with DNA, right? We always knew there was something that connected parents to kids, but until DNA was revealed to us, now we did not know that there were specific genes and all of these little mutations that take place. Again, mutations are just a product of free will. That's like AI. We have system given the ability to mutate on its own within certain limits. We build a car with AI. It doesn't say, well, I'm a plane. It says, no, I know to maneuver within certain constraints. Same thing with each animal. They have the ability to mutate within certain constraints, but on their own, because we're not constantly tweaking it. This is what AI is about. This is what evolution is all about. And so science has tacitly accepted this. You don't hear science talking about, oh, this randomly. No, we see the connection. We see the intelligence. Religions are so far behind. And that simple thing of religions recognizing the omnipotence of the Almighty God, recognize that nature is the manifestation of His omnipotence. That is all that is required. Religious leaders need to wake up. We as individuals need to challenge them with this. Say, do you recognize that nature is the manifestation of the omnipotence of the Creator? And that also entails that we are in the presence of the eternal Creator. That force, that for us, we think everything in our lifetime, in my lifetime, I want this in the thing. Why can you? No. Millions of years, billions of years. The spiritual is eternal. It's eternal. You can't be, when you live if you live like a butterfly, then everything you want to now, right now. But if it's going to be, millions of years, because all these processes were designed to occur over a certain period, right? And it's why we, oftentimes, unfortunately, we make our own gods. We make our own gods. We defy the first commandment, and we make our own gods. Sometimes we defy those who died. Mortal man, we defy them and say, okay, now we defy the very first commandment. But we are the information we need to get us right to that point where we start this massive revolution in humankind, in the very history of our civilization. All the information is here. And if there's more that's being revealed, but we need to recognize that we are just on the cusp of it. And unfortunately, religions are the trailing edge. They are still doing, terrible things. They are just focused on their little group, not recognizing nature that is universal. Works. It doesn't matter where on this planet you are. Nature is the same. We see the same benevolence to all creatures. We see it in the weather. We see it in the design of the creatures, the trees, everything around us. All these systems, we see how nature, and it's there for us uniformly, regardless of all these artificial divisions we create. Now, yes, there is diversity, and diversity is His. As servants, we must honor this diversity. But we are all part of one system. And this is what will lead us to this great revolution when religions wake up, because science already has. When religions wake up, this will be the great unifying force that tosses aside, because now we recognize We need, we have covenants. We have covenants. And these covenants are not based on this country or this. It's universal, just like nature. It's universal. We are all subject to nature. We are all subject to the same rules. Those commandments are universal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not bear false witness. All of these things. Now, it doesn't mean that we are perfect. But as we move towards this greatest revolution in the history of, yes, in the history of mankind, these are the changes that will manifest itself. And so all these, you hear all the thing about, it's like history is circular and all this nonsense. It's just nonsense. Because with education, with knowledge, we move forward. We learn from those things. And yes, there will be a certain percentage who they dream to go back in time. Yeah, as if we could go back in time. No, the fact like this, that knowledge can be shared universally within seconds. It's moving us forward. And we are on the cusp of the greatest revolution in the history of mankind. Once religions recognize that nature is the manifestation of God's omnipotence, it unifies us. And we must move towards less of this divisiveness and the hate, and allow the eternal also demons of hate, greed, lust, and deception. They're out there. They will always be there. But once we are aware and we stop denying the spiritual, we stop denying, because we recognize, where is that intelligence? Yes, it's an everlasting. It's from the everlasting source. Electricity was always there. It's us learning the rules that govern these things. So again, we are on the cusp, but we need to get religions to recognize this. I want to take the time and thank you. Thank you for taking the time for viewing this. And I hope, it is my hope that this will resonate with you and you will be a point of light to take it with you. I want to thank you again for taking the time. And until next time, may God bless us all. Thanks again.